Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're taking a deep dive into one of the most controversial legendary items in Legends, and that is the Harmonious Bell. Depending on who you ask, this is either one of the strongest support items in the game or complete trash and a complete waste of a legendary slot. So what is interesting is that unlike some of the flashy legendary weapons that immediately show their value, the Harmonious Bell has created a pretty big divide within the community. In Reddit discussions and YouTube comments and in player guides, it seems that everyone agrees on what the item does, but everyone disagrees on whether it's actually worth using. So in this video, we're going to break down exactly what the legendary does, how it works, where it shines, where it struggles, and whether it's something you should even equip once it drops. So let's get into it. First, what exactly is the Harmonious Bell? Now, this is a legendary charm in Legends. Many veteran Ghost of Tsushima Legend players immediately notice similarities to the old restorative rhythm charm from the original game. The reason this comparison comes up so often is because Yōtei no longer has the dedicated healing Ronin playstyle that many players love on Tsushima, including myself. Back then, a support focused Ronin could instantly revive teammates across the map with their ultimate ability. That safety net no longer exists in the same way. And according to a lot of players, Harmonious Bell appears to have been designed specifically to fill that gap. Now, let's talk about the legendary perk itself. And this is where things get interesting. When a player equipped with the Harmonious Bell activates one of the physical healing bells found throughout a map, every downed teammate is instantly revived regardless of where they are located. Not only that, but every teammate is also healed back to full health, and the effect works across the entire map. If three teammates are down on opposite sides of the map, a single bell activation can immediately bring everyone back into the fight. On top of that, the charm also increases the healing speed of the bells themselves when players are standing nearby. So, on paper, this sounds incredible. Full team healing, global revives, no need to manually reach teammates, no need to risk a dangerous rescue, no need to burn additional resources. You just hit the bell and you save the run. But this is where the community opinions start to split. And let's start with the criticism. A large portion of players have argued that this legendary feels weak in survival mode, and the issue isn't actually the effect itself. The problem is the design of the map, because most of the survival maps only contain a single healing bell, if not all, I believe all of them. And that bell is often positioned far away from the actual defense zones. So imagine you're defending an objective during a difficult wave, two teammates go down. In theory, a Harmonious Bell should save the day, but in practice, you might have to abandon the objective, sprint, across the map, activate the bell, and then run all the way back. By the time you've done that, you may have already lost that zone. So for these players, the problem isn't that the legendary is bad, is that the situations where it can actually be used are very limited. And because legendary slots are extremely valuable, most players feel that there are stronger options available for survival specifically. This is why you'll often see players describe the Harmonious Bell as underwhelming or even a bad legendary. But that's only half the story. The other side of the community on this item absolutely loves it. Like players running story mode and incursions frequently describe it as one of the most clutch support tools in the game, and the reason is simple. Those modes tend to feature healing bells that are easier to access and much more naturally integrated into the map design. So instead of making a massive detour, players can often activate a bell without sacrificing their positioning or objective progress. In these scenarios, Harmonious Bell becomes a powerful emergency button. One activation can completely reverse a near wipe. A run that looks completely doomed can instantly become recoverable. And that's where many players believe that the charm truly shines. Now, let's talk about one of the more interesting strategies that keeps coming up in these discussions, and that is the Archer build. So, if you spend time reading the threads or watching experienced players discuss the item, you will notice that one class gets mentioned more than any other, and that is the Archer, especially a perching Archer. And the logic is actually pretty clever. Archers often play from high positions away from the front line. They're already focused on maintaining sight lines and controlling enemies from a distance. So, if an archer positions themselves near a healing bell, they can continue contributing damage while also serving as an emergency support player. If teammates go down, they're already in position to activate the bell quickly. They don't need to abandon a defense point. They don't need to push through a crowd of enemies. They simply trigger the bell and bring the team back to the fight. Now, among players who actually use the Harmonious Bell, this seems to be one of the most commonly recommended setups. Now, let's discuss what might be the biggest problem with this legendary. And surprisingly, it's not the item itself, it's your teammates. One complaint appears over and over throughout these discussions, and that is random players. Specifically, random players who trigger the bells at the worst possible time. Picture this. You equip a Harmonious Bell, you're saving the bell for a critical moment. Nobody's down, the team is doing fine. Then somebody walks up to the healing bell because they lost a tiny amount of health and activates it immediately. Just like that, your emergency revive option is gone. The global heal and revive effect has been wasted. And now, if disaster strikes later in the mission, there's no bell available to save the team. So this issue comes up so frequently that it is one of the biggest weaknesses of the item. Not because the charm is weak, but because its effectiveness depends heavily on team coordination. In an organized group, Harmonious Bell can be amazing. In random matchmaking, your experience may vary dramatically. So, is Harmonious Bell actually worth using? Based on the community consensus, the answer is it depends on what you're playing. If your primary focus is story mode or incursions, a lot of players consider it a genuinely powerful support legendary. The ability to instantly revive and fully heal an entire team can completely change the outcome of difficult encounters. Now, if your primary focus is survival, opinions become much more divided. Some players still swear by it. Others believe that the map layouts make it too inconsistent to justify using a legendary slot. And I mean, neither side is necessarily wrong. There's just simply evaluating the item within different environments. Now, finally, let's talk about how to actually get the Harmonious Bell. And like most legendary items in Legends, obtaining it comes down to RNG. There's currently no confirmed targeted farming method. However, experienced players generally recommend focusing on nightmare content, specifically completing the weekly Nightmare Story, Nightmare Survival, and Nightmare Incursion rotations, as well as the raids, to secure a guaranteed high level legendary reward. A lot of players also recommend speed farming Nightmare Story missions because they offer some of the fastest completion times relative to potential legendary drops. So, if you're hunting for this legendary, Nightmare Story appears to be one of the more efficient farming options currently available. At the end of the day, Harmonious Bell might not be as horrible as it seems. It might be one of the most misunderstood legendary in Yōtei Legends. I mean, on paper, global revives and full team healing sound really powerful. And in the right mode and with the right team, they absolutely are very powerful. But factors like map design, bell placement, and teammate coordination can dramatically affect its value. And that is why players seem so divided on it. Some players see it as a game saving support tool, others see it as a legendary that rarely gets the opportunity to reach its full potential. But one thing everyone seems to agree is on this, and that is that when Harmonious Bell saves an entire team from a wipe, it creates some of the most memorable moments in Legends. Now, let me know down in the comments if you've managed to get this item yet, and more importantly, whether you think it is underrated or just trash. Now, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you.